goodness.
The one of one is missing.
I knew something was up.
Pop that's almost twice as much going for the same price.
I just freaking love that rated rookie logo.
Doing more buying.
Which one of these 5 quarterbacks has the worst set of pass catchers to throw the football to?
Guess how much I sniped this for an auction?
Number to 5, you dirty animal.
I'm telling you, these optic on-card autos are money. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Football Card Quest. I'm Andy Kazin. Carter will be joining us here shortly. He had a last-minute ordeal to take care of, and we got a lot of news to cover today, guys. Free agency has kicked off. Happy new league year to you. The no off-season motto is in full effect because with the new league year, there's been a ton of big moves. So we're going to break down these moves and how they've impacted the card market. Let's look at the eBay sold data and kind of let that steer our buying and selling decisions here in the hobby. How we feeling? Pick Six Cards, what up, man? Good. How you feeling? Let's go ahead and throw up the screen because the first guy I want to talk about is Justin Fields to the Jets. I think this is an interesting move because it does come with a 2-year deal with $30 million guaranteed. And so he's going to have constant backup competition with Tyrod Taylor, a seasoned veteran. And, if you look at Justin Fields over the past couple years, it's not as his EPA is below average, and it's been hit or miss, but he does have a very good rushing game. So this is going to be interesting. They also have a new offensive coordinator, new coaching staff. You got Aaron Glenn as a new head coach, but he brings in the passing game coordinator, Tanner Engstrad, from the Detroit Lions. Now, this is interesting. He's coming from that Ben Johnson offensive coaching tree there in Detroit. And you've got to be excited about their top speed offensive, dynamic offense there in Detroit. If he can bring that to New York, there could be some upside there for Justin Fields. Now, what's his card market doing? Well, you can see a buy it now today on his rookie ticket auto, Silver Prism, sealed by Panini, which does give a boost to the value in that card, or should give a boost to the value in that card. However, still selling at $200. And that's a pretty low price, right? That's a pretty low price. To get a good idea of where that stacks up in that draft class, I would go look at a 2021 Trevor Lawrence, rookie ticket auto, who also gets a new head coach this year. And Liam Cohen, sniped from the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have turned into a little bit of a head coaching breeding ground, if you will. So we must be doing something right down here in Tampa. Shout out to any Tampa fans out there. All right, so let's look at this Trevor Lawrence rookie ticket auto market. I mean, we got out of 99. I would love to find a PSA 5. Good Lord. For 200 there. That was on the 27th. See, I'm having to go back here a little ways to find some good rookie ticket autos sold data for Trevor Lawrence. I do have a $333 for a teal out of 50. Teal should be a phenomenal color match for the Jaguars. Out of 50, really good known scarcity there. And this only selling for $333. Sealed by Panini as well tells me that Trevor Lawrence may be trading for even lower than Justin Fields right now. So we'd have to go literally and look at the 2021 draft class and find somebody with some more hype. So to do that, let's pop over here to slabhawk.com and just type in 2021 on the players tab. Jamar Chase, of course, guys. Of course, Jamar freaking Chase led the NFL in touchdowns last year, is set to become the highest paid skill position player in the NFL. And Myles Garrett just reset that market with a $40 million deal on the Cleveland Browns. So now the Bengals had a chance to sign Jamar Chase at, I think, $36 million a year, and now they're going to have to pay him 40. So let's go and pop over to eBay. Let's go back to eBay, and let's do a Jamar Chase rookie ticket auto search and see where he is at compared to these QBs. That will be a great little case study right there for the 2021 draft class. Yeah, okay. PSL, we got to get to sold. It's always important sometimes. Got to remember to click that sold button. All right, let's check it out. Check it out. Okay, here's a good one. Here it is. March 5th, last week, 240. He's trading for more than Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. So it just goes to show you got to, in the hobby today, you got to just be a good player and your prices will go up. Your demand will go up. It doesn't matter if you play offense, defense. I would say the most difficult position to go up in value based on your performance alone is going to be like the offensive line, but go and look out. There's some very expensive Jason Kelce cards. Tristan Wirfs, my man on the Bucs, he's got some fairly expensive cards as well. And then I will say the D-line, but you have some guys on the D-line that go for good money. And then it's probably like the cornerback. And obviously the quarterbacks are in a different echelon, right? Because if they do pop off with that crazy hype, then they're more common cards. Like you can go and look up for example, a 2021 Jamar Chase optic hollow, and that card is still going to struggle to break out from like this, 25. Well, that's a green preview, but PSA 10 for 150. Okay. Let's find a raw optic hollow. Perfect. Right here. $13. $15 for the photo variation. Whereas if we have a Justin Fields, let's just check it. Let's just do this real quick. Justin Fields optic hollow and see what that goes for. It's got to be going for more, I would guess. Maybe not. Okay, $8. So it's not. It's 15. It's the same. But if you go back 1 year and let's just look at Joe Burrow. Let's look at Joey B, Jamar Chase's gunslinger, and a lot of graded, which makes sense. I mean, Joe Burrow might kind of be in that hype tier where you get some replicated cards that aren't authentic. Plus 2020 products now been out for 5 years. Gonna be a lot of grading going on. 69. That's actually in a dip right there from the historical highs for Joe Burrow. Not a lot of 9s for around $100. A raw one for 70. So that, but that's a lot higher, right? I mean, in terms of positional ranking, Joe Burrow's up there based on his performance last year. Jamar Chase is obviously up there, still contending as a #1 overall pick in fantasy drafts, whether it's standard or super flex. But if you're playing super flex, you're likely going to draft Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. So, and in those years, you're going back to 2018, 2019. The scarcity just goes through the roof, guys. So you can't really compare the optic hollows from that year, especially on a quarterback. And this is when you start to see stuff get really crazy. As you can see, the optic hollow for Josh Allen, SGC 10, $900, or a PSA not this. See, have a chance to win, Don Rosan. What in the hell is this? I want to get the real deal here. All this have a chance to win. Excuse me 1 second. I got to silence that. Sorry about that, guys. What's up, Jason? Tim? Good morning, sir. Good morning. Yeah, those are autoed. All right. There's a PSA 10 optic hollows between $1,000 to $1,500. A pretty wild difference there in 2 days between a auction and a buy it now. Clearly better to sell Josh Allen's optic hollow PSA 10 in a buy it now right now. This man in auction here cost himself $500. But yeah, you guys get the idea. Crazy. So I think that this, obviously, Justin Fields' market is higher than Trevor Lawrence at the present moment. The Jets have a much bigger fan base than the Jacksonville Jaguars at the present moment. And there is some opportunity there for Justin Fields. He is going to get a starting job this year. I think it's highly likely. $30 million is guaranteed of 2-year, $40 million deal. You're going to be starting. So it's fragile. It's fragile. So I would try to be flip and sell as quick as I could on that news. In the other sense, Aaron Rodgers is still on the market. He's an older veteran, guys. So he's still on the market. He's out there. But let's also talk about Geno Smith. 2013 product has never fully taken off. He had, a resurgence to his career in Seattle 2 years ago. But since then, his prices have digressed and come back down. Like, I thought I bought in a dip. I bought a $50 this rookie ticket auto. But as you can see, as of yesterday, the cards for him, like his rookie ticket auto at $35, one bid in an auction, tells you that not getting a tremendous amount of hype from his signing with the Raiders. So, I mean, it's one of those situations where Geno Smith has got some years on him here, guys. So I'm interested to see what happens here. But as a result, Sam Darnold goes to the Seattle Seahawks, and Sam Darnold actually gets a pretty big payday here. This one's also an interesting move, especially after Sam Darnold put up the 6th most top 10 finishes last season in fantasy football. When pressured, though, he fell below the league average in EPA per dropback and passing success rate. He only had one game with just 1 sack. And the Seattle Seahawks have released DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. We're going to talk about those guys as well, specifically DK Metcalf, right? DK Metcalf is that generational talent from Seattle that now goes to Pittsburgh alongside George Pickens. And we have to talk about what Pittsburgh plans to do at the quarterback position as well. But you got to think that Darnold moving to Seattle and the departure of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Look here, 2018 Optic Hollow Sam Darnold. If my screen's still sharing, let me just make sure. $30 in a buy it now, sold today. You also have a green Prism PSA 10 rookie, 115. You have this limited out of 99. There's a 2018 Optic Downtown Sam Darnold sold for $450. I'm curious to see how that stacks up with Baker Mayfield, who we just re-signed Chris Godwin to a nice extension. That is good music to my ears. And we also signed Hassan Reddick to a 1-year deal, which tells me that the Bucs are expecting to contend once again this year. So that was also a good sign. This was sold February 10th. So this was a month ago now, back closer to the Super Bowl, $750. Because you can see February 10th, here's a Baker Mayfield Optic Downtown. Is this 2018? Yeah, I mean, it should be 2018, but where's... Yeah, they've got 2018 on there. I guess they didn't do the rookie card shield. What I'm looking at is like, where's the rookie card shield on that card? I thought it was on there. But we have an SGC 9.5 March 6th closing auction, 23 bids, $488.80. That would be our closest thing we can look at compared to the raw. SGC 9.5, it should go for like 1.5x of what the raw card is. But I could also see it going for closer to the raw card value as well. It's not a BGS 9.5, which would go for more, and it's not a CGC 9.5, which would go for more. It's not a PSA 9 or 10, which could potentially go for more as well. So PSA 9, yeah, March 10th, there's a $500 buy now. So that's kind of right in line. So they're kind of neck and neck in value. I personally would rather invest in Baker Mayfield. He's got better weapons, and he's also been playing really, really good for the Buccaneers. Seahawks do have a bigger market, bigger fan base than Baker. And ultimately, I'm looking at Darnold as a little sell here heading into the season now, starting for the Seahawks, especially if the Seahawks spend some nice draft capital here on some wide receivers. I think they're going to have to, because the flip side of that coin, talking about that departure of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, is Jaxon Smith-Njigba basically getting as many targets as he can possibly handle. So if that's the case, we want to look at selling him on the high side heading into the season, because his current ADP of about 35 should skyrocket with this news. And in the offseason, guys, when the fantasy ADP goes up, which is on average where fantasy players are spending their draft money, that's the currency of fantasy football on these players. When that goes up, right? If they're spending 35 on pick 35 on average for Jaxon Smith-Njigba before the release of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and now they bring in Sam Darnold, and now they release those guys, his ADP goes up to, let's say, 15, based on the anticipated target volume. Well, when it goes from 35 to 15, that's an increase in fantasy currency. That's an increase in fantasy currency by 20 points, which is, in relationship with the sports card market, it's a direct relationship. That's going to be an increase in his values of his rookie cards. So that's why I look at ADP movement so much in the offseason, because anytime ADP moves up, it's because of these coaching changes. It's because of personnel news. It's because of additions of new quarterbacks or the release of other skill position guys that he was competing against. And so you can see, look at the sold volume here for Jaxon Smith-Njigba is going up considerably here. Razzle Dazzle, Panini Mosaic PSA 9, $100. Black RPA out of 10, $100. That's a fair value black, a lower ranked set. Rookie ticket auto red out of 125, 115 in auction today. Very, very solid resale price, even getting a little action on the base Prism silver at $6. Nice. Ooh, look at that. Shadow box auto out of 49. Immaculate, a top tier set with National Treasures and some of these other really nice sets. 200 in a buy it now today. That's fantastic. That's a fantastic resale value, because this card, I would gander to say this card back in December would have been easily obtained for under 100. So that means people that were buying Jaxon Smith-Njigba earlier in the later period of the in-season buying window were getting a really good deal, and now they're able to flip for approximately double. And that is something that I would, go back and do a search on, go to eBay, copy and paste from the listing, take out some of this information that might get bogged down in the search engine here, and do an enter like that and see what other ones come up. Oh, and we can see just the day before there was a buy it now sell on $130. So all of a sudden, one day, that's a pretty significant increase. Look, December 21st, there you go, $100 buy it now. Buy it now too. I mean, that's doesn't get any better than that. When you could buy it now on that card for 100 and then turn around and sell it for 200, a few months later, that's fantastic. Fantastic results there. So you can see that's a great indication of what the Jaxon Smith-Njigba market is doing right now. Let me pop back over to the chat here. Carter's going to be joining us here momentarily. I appreciate that, Jason, man. So that's why I love this show right here. Didn't think about JSN. Bob, what's up, Boggy? Yeah, Family Burliner says if Seattle doesn't improve their O-line, Sam will be turtling in the pocket all season long. That's pretty good. Yeah, I agree. J Rabe Carr says I'd say JJ Carr. This is going to be tough for his cards to continue going up in value. We could certainly look at him, but JJ's. I'm guessing he's referencing Justin Jefferson. So it's we're definitely going to have to, like, I would use Slabhawk. I would probably gander to say that his his graded market would be a good spot to look. If you look at the biggest spenders right now in free agency, the Vikings are up at the top. So I didn't mean to type in Justin Herbert. Justin Jefferson. There we go. Let's kind of look at some of this Optic Hollow sales. This would be good. Optic Hollow PSA 10. This is a good market to look at. 40% grade rate too. It's going to place more emphasis on the PSA 10s. We can zoom out too and look at a 2-year chart. It's kind of bouncing all around, but look at that. Heading into the 2023 season, he had on average $200 values. I mean, that's a pretty significant high there. And right now it's really, I mean, it's about 159. So it's definitely got room to go back up if the execution is there in 2025. I definitely think we could see cards like this from Justin Jefferson go up, because I'm telling you guys, I went to a card show on Saturday. Finding Justin Jefferson autos is nearly impossible, and they're going to cost you a literal arm and a leg to get them. What, man?
Oh man, I have got a bone to pick with you. I do. So I was listening, coming into the studio here, and you said Jamar Chase led the NFL in receiving touchdowns.
Didn't he? Or was I wrong?
No. He didn't just lead the NFL in receiving touchdowns. He led the league in receiving yards, and he led the league in receptions. Get it right, Andy.
All three. Well,
he was a triple freaking crown winner, the first in Super freaking Cup. You will not disrespect Jamar Chase. And I have another thing. I'm sitting here listening to you. I understand it's tough doing the show by yourself. You're sitting over there very high and tidy, drinking your Fiji water. That lets me know you're making some good money right now at your regular job. If you're drinking Fiji water, that's up there with filet mignon and a carton of eggs when it comes to high-tier entertainment. But I was listening. You said DK Metcalf is generational.
Well, he was.
No.
I don't know if people would still view him as generational.
DK Metcalf's not even the best receiver from Ole Miss. DK Metcalf wasn't even the best receiver on his old team, right? You take a look at some of the advanced metrics. DK Metcalf wasn't like that much better than Tyler Lockett. And it's funny, you mentioned DK Metcalf. You, Andy, have made money on Tyler Lockett cards. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, I did a little bit back in the day. Yeah.
So, I got to be honest. This is my first time getting to air out my grievances of free agency. What the hell were the Steelers doing forking over all this money to DK Metcalf? I guarantee you, Mike Tomlin is getting paid by Doge or some major government agency to see, hey, you will go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame if you coach as many head case wide receivers as possible. And that's why they went out there and got DK Metcalf, because I don't think they're going to be able to coexist with George Pickens. And I'll also be honest, you did give some good advice a minute ago to offload a lot of these guys. Andy, I don't know if there's any of these quarterback moves that I even like. Geno now goes to the Raiders. I'm a little shocked that his prices on rookie ticket autos have stayed like stagnant. He even went down. You said it went from $50 to $35.
Yeah, they really haven't moved.
I will say though, okay, if Geno balls out of control, the Raiders, you were talking about like fan bases, like nobody touches the Raiders fan base, maybe outside of a few. The Chiefs for sure, because, they're the Chiefs. But the Cowboys, maybe a few others. The Raider fan base is insane. And they have been dying for an elite quarterback. So Geno goes out there and balls out, Andy. I do think there's room for his prices to grow. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you have really no downside buying his rookie ticket auto for $35. Like
Right.
I bought in a dip period for Geno when he really took off that first year with the Seahawks. His rookie ticket autos went up to 100, 150. They then came back down to $50 later that season. That's when I bought, thinking I was buying at the bottom. But to see a $35 one now is like, wow, people are just really have written him off, and the move to the Raiders is kind of, I think, gone under the radar here. Maybe people are anticipating the Raiders to spend draft capital on a quarterback. I didn't look at the contract for Geno. Like, is it guaranteed
Yeah,
starter
they're
money?
gonna sign him. I heard they're gonna match like the 40 to 45 million. I also know the Seahawks were interested in bringing him back. But Geno gets back with his old coach here. Here's what's interesting about it to me, Andy. He is 34, right? I mean, he's old. That's up there for a QB. I will say, I have never seen a quarterback that the film community loves more than Geno Smith. I'm serious. Like the way that some film analysts talk about Geno Smith is the same way they talk about prime Drew Brees with his pocket ability, his ability to diagnose plays post snap. I like Geno Smith. I don't know if I love him, but Andy, at $35 for a rookie ticket auto, it makes sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you could see, Jacoby Myers, very affordable, and then you give him Brock freaking Bowers. We have not seen the best of Brock freaking Bowers yet, so I'm kind of in on buying a few Geno rookie autos here.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, especially if we were to. I mean, it's hard to compare Geno to somebody else. I mean, if you look at his values, even compared to like Travis Kelce, who's taken a little bit of hit in his market, and he's in a tangent, but Travis Kelce, he's obviously much lower. And then, but you could go and look at like a DeAndre Hopkins
Yeah.
from 2013, and you'll still be able to find value on Geno Smith compared to DeAndre Hopkins. Coincidentally, on the free agency market, we'll see what happens with him this year. But Geno Smith at the quarterback position, you're right, for a much larger fan base and market size with the Raiders, this is interesting. I also think they spend some draft capital on running back, potentially wide receiver, because Jacoby Myers is their number one guy right now. And I think Jacoby is solid, and he has a consolidated football card market. Really, it's the rookie ticket auto that is his main focus. To get one for $6 is such a cheap price. I would buy that up all day long.
Let's go to Don here. Andy, how much draft have you talked combine? This is our first show post combine.
I haven't. I made a post about the running backs, but I have not talked at all on this show. And we got to talk about it because it's going to be a huge impact. Why everybody's like kind of focused on these free agency moves. We're getting ready to get a bunch of young studs coming in the NFL, dominated by the running back class.
All right. So, what did I tell you before the draft or before the combine? Who did I tell you to buy?
Was it
our guy
Bayshawn Tootin?
All right, so let me share my screen. Okay,
Yes,
for those that went in and bought, this is one of my better plays I've ever given. Remember when these rookie autos, they were buying out for $8. Take a look at this, man. 30 US buy.
Wow.
So what is that? 200% increase?
Yeah.
Some of his rare stuff going up. I'm telling you, Andy, I take time trying to find these plays of the week. Now, this one right here, 1250. But look at these buy and nows going for 30. You could have got this card for $8 when we actually did the show. Am I just seeing things here, or
No. You're absolutely right. And what you just, kind of glossed over, scrolled over, was the fact that buy nows are a lot better right now.
Yeah,
I looked at a couple optic holo. Like there's a Josh Allen optic holo that I think it was a PSA 10. We looked at it. You got to go back in the feed, but auction closed at 1,000 and a buy now sold at 1,500. Like right now is the time to be selling in buy it nows, and I think a lot of auctions are going under the radar here as we're entering spring, and there's a lot going on. Auctions that are ending, especially during the week, during the day, are just going to go undervalued. So you can buy those and sell them in a buy it now. But buy it nows are, I think, the way to go right now with no games going on, no real hyper relevancy events, because we don't know when the news is going to drop for free agency. So trying to time that is like impossible.
Yeah, and Andy, I'm actually going to spend even more time next year pre-combine, because the combine did matter for guys like Tootin and a few other players that kind of stood out. To take a guy like Matthew Golden, I actually didn't look at Golden's market beforehand, but he runs at 4.29, and two credible draft analysts moved Matthew Golden to their wide receiver 1, which I think is insane. But I like Golden. I don't love him, but that combine moved needles for him. But once again, I don't mean to pat my own back, but I was like, Bayshul Tootin for $10. Let's go.
Look at Omari and Hampton.
Dude, his market's going insane.
He's gone insane. He's now likely the RB2 behind Ashton Genty, who was a guy that we didn't even bring up in our pre-combine. We didn't really focus on him, but that's how deep this running back class is. And then you got you mentioned Matthew Gold. So it's like these guys are the draft. I think the draft stock has really changed based on what happened in the combine.
So, Don, as far as Tyler Show is concerned, very interesting career. So he was at Texas Tech for a while, and then he goes to Louisville. And Andy, one thing I like about Tyler is if you were to put his 10 best throws, and the only thing you could do as an NFL draft analyst is look at his 10 best throws, he would be the QB2 behind Cam Ward. There were some Stafford things, and you know how much I love Matthew Stafford. That's how talented Tyler Show is with the arm.
Interesting.
He's got serious whip on the ball. I could see him being a Geno Smith type of quarterback, like just a good, solid NFL starter. But for Tyler, I don't see him being better than a guy like Jay Cutler. But the good thing is he's still kind of under the radar. He's kind of gotten picked up by a few different draft analysts. I watched a good bit of him last year at Louisville. He was fantastic. But, he's still behind Jackson Dart, and then, of course, the big two, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. But Shedeur is sliding a bit here, and Tyler is starting to gain some steam, and I've always mispronounced his name. It's Shook. Tyler Shook.
Shook? Really? I would never have said Shook.
I've watched him quite a
Show
bit.
Or Sal.
But I watch all my games on mute because I'm watching 12 games at a time. But yeah, to Jason's point, shout out to Derek Richard, who's been a long Discordian. Him and Jason have both been buying Jackson Dart for years now, and now it's paying off for him, Andy.
Yeah. My buddy Billy in Canada has been buying Jackson Dart as well, and he's gonna be selling quite a few of them here because Jackson Dart he may be the QB2 behind Cam Ward, which is now four potential quarterbacks that could be taken in the first round. You also have a handful of running backs. You have teams that need running backs. One of those I think is interesting, Carter. I think people need to sell Najee Harris now on this move to the Chargers. That's an increase in hype. I think because Dobbins is a free agent. You don't know what they're going to do there. But we know they love to run the ball. Najee's in his prime, quote-unquote prime, because he's 26 and he's coming off a 1,000-yard plus rushing season, a good season with the Steelers. And I think the anticipation is he goes into L.A. With the Chargers and he becomes, Jim Harbaugh's bell cow like he wants. And he's going to get, hundreds of carries next year and targets and everything. But I think the Chargers draft one of these running backs as an insurance policy. And I think that's going to impact Najee Harris's market when that does happen. And then, of course, the rookie's going to get all the time in training camp. And so he's going to be all the hype. And maybe Najee does have some games and has a decent season. But I think right now is a great time to sell profit on Najee Harris. I was looking at his market before the show, $99 National Treasures horizontal rookie patch auto. That's, patch doesn't really matter, but it does have a few colors in it. But it's out of $99 for $99. That's a good price. Like, that's not chump change. I mean, his market is moving pretty good. And so if you have something that's more rare from Najee Harris, I would think right now is a good time to look at selling it in a buy it now when people kind of put because this is an ADP increase. And I was talking about how ADP increases right now in the offseason equate to price increases in the hobby.
Is it just me? I don't see anything on the screen.
Oh, snap. I forgot to add that to the stage there. But there's that NT, that horizontal NT for 100.
Yeah, I'm with you on selling Najee. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff out there too. But one thing that's interesting, I think you're going to get a very motivated Najee Harris, right? Underrated college career, overshadowed by Derrick Henry and Mark Ingram, who actually won the Heisman. Then I think he's been an somewhat underrated NFL player just because he doesn't have freaking LaDainian Tomlinson, Chris Johnson kind of burst. So I'm kind of excited for Najee. By the way, Andy, he's from California. So this is his first time playing on the West Coast. So I think he's going to be very motivated. And this offense suits him. This is what Harbaugh wants to do. So I could see him being a pretty solid player. So it's going to be interesting.
So you think he's a hold then right now?
I don't know. I've gone back and forth on him when I saw the move yesterday. One thing that's interesting, Andy, only a 1-year deal. So this is a prove-it year. So we're talking about a 5-star recruit. And this is probably the best offensive environment he's been in since he's been in the NFL or since his rookie year with Big Ben. So I'm very interested in Najee Harris. Andy, our guy Brad wants to talk some Bears. Your thoughts on the Bears going crazy, man? This is a loaded offense now with the offensive line firepower they brought in.
Well, and I started the head coach change to Ben Johnson. It's a very positive move. So from that sense alone, like, I'm giving Ben Johnson the nod here. He's been very selective in where he's taken this promotion. And I think he sees a lot of potential of this team. I think, Caleb Williams could see a significant bump in performance here in year 2. And I actually wrote up DeAndre Swift a couple weeks back for our Patreon premium members in a weekly auction sniper article as a premium target right now that's going undervalued. 2020 rookie cards. And if you look at the depth chart, I think he's way far ahead of Roschon Johnson and the rest of the guys they have on that depth chart, which is not much. Travis Homer, Royce Freeman maybe. But you look at what DeAndre Swift was able to do last year in terms of carries and targets, I think he gets a really nice role here in the Ben Johnson offense of kind of like a combo role between David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, where he's doing a lot and he's getting a lot of volume. And with all the money they've spent in this offense now, I'm interested, man.
I am praying, like a lot of Bears fans, that they draft Genty. Because if they draft Genty, the NFC North is going to be one of the more loaded offensive divisions I have ever seen, right? With the Bears, Vikings, Lions, and freaking Ben Johnson, and the Packers, excuse me. Man, I am so excited for NFC North football next year. I've not, and I'll say this since we do have a few Packer viewers, and it's not quite football car related. I'm not in love with what the Packers have done this offseason. I think they could have been a little bit more aggressive and maybe getting an actual number. I would have loved DK Metcalf going there. I think that would have been nice, and just see what you can get for my guy, Dontavian Wicks. That was one of my bigger plays of the week. That was actually my Bashal Tootin before Wicks' NFL draft. He's actually been a good player. So family Burnline are excited about his Vikings. So we'll see. Andy, I need you to I'm not going to wax poetic about Jayden Daniels. His prices are going to be the highest.
Dude.
But let's have a quick convo here on Drake May. Your thoughts on the Pats free agency up to this point?
What have they done? They signed one guy, I think,
Matt
right?
Collins. They got Matt Collins.
Got Matt. Well, it doesn't really.
Yeah,
it doesn't really do much for me.
So Kayshon Boutte is still going to be their number one option because Jalen Polk is a corn cob. So man, I would freaking love for the Patriots to, because they're at pick number 4. And they still need offensive line help. Mm-hmm. I think that they overpaid for Landry, but that was Vrabel's boy from the Titans. So I don't know. So Crisco says they're going to draft defense. Yeah, but they've spent so much on defense here in the past week. So I think the Patriots are going to go offensive line. They're going to take my guy Will Campbell, or they're going to take the Armand Mimbu from Missouri. But yeah, give me your thoughts on Drake May and his card market.
Well, here on slabhawk.com, we track the buy it now sold data on a daily basis. And so roughly in the past 24 hours, there have been 1,694 Jayden Daniels buy it now solds.
Damn, dude.
Which puts him clear and away, number one hype rank position. I mean, he's got 3,500 cards added to the PSA database in the past 7 days. And so if you look at those total numbers, that's twice as much as Bo Nix at 1,600 added to PSA. And that's, and then you have Caleb Williams at 914. That's got to be wrong for Michael Penix. Maybe you've got to add the junior in there or something. But you get the point. Like Drake May, people are grading him. I think people are collecting him, but he's transacting at a much lower rate than Michael Penix, than Caleb Williams, and Bo Nix. And so I do think there's opportunity there in Drake May. I think Michael Penix is a little bit cheaper. In fact, I think Michael Penix might be a better buy based on the weapons around him. And I think you're now entering a second year, and there's still some ambiguity there with the fact they haven't officially released Kirk Cousins yet, if I understand correctly. So there's still a little bit of ambiguity there. And then the small sample size we saw from Penix, he was throwing the ball good. He was throwing it deep, and he's also got some good mobility, some interesting mobility there. So I think Penix is a little bit cheaper. I would pick him up right now over Drake May, but it's just hard to. There's no comparison between the Atlanta Falcons fan base and the New England Patriots fan base. The New England Patriots are huge, massive franchise with a huge fan base that spans across the entire globe. So, yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking at right now. You still are leading. The Jayden Daniels just crushing there. But then there's a big – Bo Nix has got a good lead on Caleb, Penix, and May as well.
Here's the thing I like about Michael Penix is he has Prism autos in pro uniform, which makes him different than the other guys. Or am I missing something there?
No, you're right. Like I went and looked up Panini Luminance, which is one of the early sets that's released in the rookie year. Michael Penix is in his pro uniform and on-card rookie auto licensed by Panini. That's a huge difference. So Michael Penix, hands down, has better rookie autos than all these guys because they're not through unlicensed tops.
Dude, I want to show you this, and I know I'm a shill for this this brand, but And I know we can get into like a squirrely debate about this card should be worth more or whatever. Dude, I freaking love Spectra, man. I can't get over my love for Spectra. There are days where I'm like, should I sell all my unlicensed Leaf stuff I've been collecting on the cheap and just pour it into Spectra? Dude, look at this card, man.
It's a growing set. The thick, man. Those cards are thick.
I love thick. I love thick, man. Every walk
Yeah.
of life, I love thick. That's my motto, man. I am and some would say that card's a little busy, but
What happened to Carter? We lost him. Just disappeared. Like, boom, magic. The dude's a magician now, apparently. I was looking to, let's see, he'll be back shortly. But Jag's gonna not suck, man. Don't say. Well, the chat is debating the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2025. I'm not rooting for them. I'll tell you that.
that was
Hey, welcome back, Carter.
So behind the scenes, me and Andy, have you told them what we're doing privately? Yeah.
Privately? No. Oh, about our water fast?
Yeah. So we're on a 5-day water fast, and I'm doing fine. How are you holding up?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing really good, actually.
Yeah. So I'm holding up, but I am a little delirious. So I'm hitting. I accidentally hit the wrong button to go elsewhere. Andy, I know we do hobby tip of the week, but I've been dying to give this play of the week. Okay. So I'm going to go in and give my play of the week, if you don't mind.
Well, I'll give my hobby tip first.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I
don't want you to forget your play of the week because I know you are fasting right now.
This is one that's just like makes no sense to me, but go ahead.
My hobby tip, because I just went to the Clearwater Card Show this past Saturday, had a great time, got videoed the whole thing, and made a couple deals. And I'll say this, cash is still king at card shows. You can negotiate some pretty good deals right now. A lot of dealers there, everybody there looking to wheel and deal. I made a couple lower offers. And the way I kind of use leverage is obviously having the card in front of you in person is a great advantage because you can look at it closely and you can find a flaw in the card and justify why you're offering what you're offering. So, and cash, when you got the cash in your hand, the cash is king. So you'll see it is coming out shortly. I'll say this. So a lot of people will babysit other tables for their brother, their dad, this and that. So I had two different scenarios where I was dealing with somebody at the table on a card and they weren't the owner of the card.
Right.
And so they had to call the person up and they were on the phone with them. And I'm like, I got the cash here. This has got a soft corner. I was like, and so I ended up getting some good deals that way, man. And I had the cash in the hand. So cash is still king. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people like to use Venmo and this and that, but that can be complicated when the owner of the card is not at the table and the person there does not have their Venmo account and all this. You got to have the cash in hand.
I am so happy you got to go to the show. And then not only that, the hobby is a completely different hobby when you go to shows compared to living through social media and eBay. It's just a completely different thing. Literally the only thing that is similar is that there's money involved and it's cardboard.
Yeah.
That's why I love going to shows so much. I'll
just add this, Carter. A few of the dealers there that I talked to didn't even have eBay stores.
Right. And, I followed this big account, Talon Sports Cards, and people are buying whole collections just for whatnot flips. And I'm like, man, it's kind of weird to do that. And I have nothing against whatnot flippers or repackers or whatever. If you're buying people's collections and it's a fair deal on both sides, go for it. But there is still a lot of value setting up at shows and going to shows. And I highly recommend everybody set up at a show at least once. even if you don't have the absolute most liquid stuff in the world, because it does change your perspective on a lot of things. And I've been a dealer at 5 shows. It was a little bit different because I was asked to be there. So it was a little, it's different, but you still should do it at least once. And Andy, I'm still waiting on you to do it at least once. You being
Yeah.
you, and you never know. You never know what can happen if you're actually the dealer at a show.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting perspective. I definitely we'll have to try that here soon enough.
Well, I'll
Wha-
fly in. I'll fly in and come sit behind there.
Get out of here. You will?
Yeah, I'll come to Tampa.
All right.
Why not? Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, that'll be fun, man. Weather's great down here too. I'll
Let-
say one more little hobby tip. Hopefully, you still got your play of the week. This is an
Yeah.
observation I just had that I thought was odd. There were a lot of 2024 green prisms, especially of Tampa Bay Buccaneers players. My guys, Bucky Irving, Jalen McMillan, wanted to buy into some, but I was like, what's up with all the green prisms, the green discos, the green pulsars? And a couple of the dealers agreed with me. Like they're seeing an oddly high amount of green prisms for Tampa Bay Buccaneers players, which tells me if you can find like the reds, the red cracked ice or the red wave prism, stuff like that, those are the red Pandoras. Those are going to be really nice buys because I think they're a lot more rare. And at some reason, they printed a bunch of green ones of them. And then 2024 Prism was the only sealed set that was sold out. And that's the only one I couldn't find. And I had a chance to buy 2024 Bowman Chrome University with Shador in it and I was close to it, but I've just had such bad luck. I didn't do it, man. I couldn't bring myself to buy the box.
No, it's all good, man. Let's go to Super Chat.
Oh, Mr. T.
All right, and we'll get to your question next. Bolt Up Leo, welcome to the channel. In the chat right now, y'all type S for Seahawks, type R for Raiders. Who has more wins next season?
I think Seahawks.
You got Seahawks?
I'll go Seahawks. Look, Raiders are in a more difficult division. They got to pay the Chiefs, Chargers, and Denver Broncos, who have gone better twice. And I mean, just look. Okay, so Pete Carroll comes in, right? And I like the Seahawks coaching staff better. I think Mike McDonald is probably a better head coach. I know Pete Carroll's got the experience and everything, but I mean, he's getting up there. He's tough on defense, but I think this offense could still struggle here in Las Vegas in the more difficult division. I still think the Seahawks have a better record when all said and done.
I'm going to roll with you on the Seahawks, but Darnold behind a bad offensive line can get ugly quick. Really, 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 really quick. He is the worst quarterback in the NFL under pressure. Or I'll say this, he's not the worst, but his drop off in play from being clean to under pressure is big, right? And I understand many would say to my criticism there, well, Carter, every quarterback's not great under pressure. It's not true. Blitz Joe Burrow all day and see what happens. Blitz Jayden Daniels all day, see what happens. Some are better than others versus pressure and bad offensive lines. So, yes, it is true. Quarterbacks suck under pressure, but Darnold, it's going to be hard for me to see a world where he's not under more pressure. What I will say, though, is the offense that they're going to run with Clint Kubiak will be more QB friendly. Whereas with Geno, the way he plays, it's a higher level quarterback play, but it does require more out of you. So we'll see what happens there. Andy, let's go to Bolt Up Leo. He's new to the channel. He's got a Pokemon avatar.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, Pokemon is incredibly hot right now. Very hot at the card show. I'd say a good 25% of the tables were dedicated to Pokemon cards, and they were popping, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bolt Up Leo says, I'm new to the NFL. Only collecting Prism. Okay, that's smart. Pulled a green cracked ice Drake May from the card shop. Can't find a reliable source for its value. What do you think? So green cracked ice?
From Prism.
Yeah, you should be able to. I would guess there'd be a decent amount of eBay sold items. I might buy it off of you right now.
So what I would do is I would just go look at green cracked ice in general, Prism. So 2024 green cracked ice Prism or 2024 Prism green cracked ice, and then what we do is you look at the sold items, and then instead of sorting by ended recently, I'd probably go highest first, and you're going to find a bunch of Jayden Daniels, but that tells you what the top of the market is. So you got Drake May, and from what we've seen, Drake May is going somewhere for like around.
I got it pulled up right here, Andy. So let me share
Yeah.
screen.
Okay.
All right. So this actually is a good thing for newbies.
Yeah.
Uh, Let me pull this up real quick.
Okay. So Jayden Daniels is going for about $1,000, January 29th. But most recently, I'd say the average is probably about 600. Looks like 625 on February 12th.
All right. So guess Drake May's price.
So I was gonna guess about 30% of Jayden Daniels. So if he's going for 625, I'm guess like 250 for Drake May.
Look at you, right on the close to it. 198.50 is his latest. But here's the thing, Leo. Is it a emergent green cracked ice prism? Because that's a $10 card basically.
Yeah.
But if it's an actual real green cracked ice, 198.50. And this is what I would ask everyone in the chat. All right. Do you think Jayden Daniels, if that green cracked ice sits at around 750 to 1,000, do you think he is a 5 times better quarterback than Drake May? I'll ask you that, Andy. Do you think that?
Sorry, I was reading the comments. Repeat the question one more time.
Do you think Jayden Daniels is 5 times as good as Drake May?
5 times as good as Drake May. Well, I think the jury's still out on that. I think in the first year, yeah. And if Drake May doesn't start training with VR at 1.75x speed of real game time, I think Jayden Daniels could become the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah. I will say this. I think he is. I think Jayden is way better than Drake May. But that's because I think Jayden Daniels is the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. I think the top 4 are just so untouchable right now, which is Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar. I think if you were to say anyone else other than those 4, if you want to make the wins argument with Jalen Hurts, go right on ahead and do it. That's fine. But those are your top 4. And then I think that 5th would be Jayden Daniels. I think those 4 are on a different tier. And then Jayden Daniels is QB number 5. And I think by the end of next season, Drake May will have surpassed Bo Nix. Drake May will have surpassed Caleb Williams. And he will be the clear-cut 2nd best quarterback in this class. That's how I feel. Take that for what it's worth. So if I believe that, then I'm going to be buying Drake May. And I need to start buying some Drake May because I think he'll get some offensive line help. I would have loved for them, still would love for them to go get T. Higgins or someone like that. But there you go. So there's a piece of me that thinks Drake May is a little bit of a hold right now.
Yeah.
And when the National comes around, that's when his stuff will start steaming. So I'm excited. Now, I am very interested in a red cracked ice prism and red color match, like those red Pandora Drake May cards. Ooh, they hit hard, bro.
Speaking of Jayden Daniels, how do you think Deebo Samuel fits into this Commanders offense?
I think Deebo's a little washed, but Andy, it's Jayden Daniels. Here's what I'll say about Jayden Daniels is I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think it'd be a little too much bias, irresponsibleness after just 1 year. What I will say, though, is that guy is the best quarterback to play with when it comes to being a supporting cast member. So I just think Deebo going from the 49ers to the Commanders, yeah, it's a little bit of a regress in terms of play caller. But Jayden is the ultimate lipstick on the pig quarterback. He will make Debo look so damn good. So I'm in on Debo for this next season, and I'm interested to see what he's going to do.
So here's an interesting comparison. See if I could find a specific card I want to put. Wow, actually, I'm kind of impressed. So I'm actually impressed to see this data. I thought it was going to be the other way around. So I'm trying to find what the Terry McLaurin recent rookie ticket auto solds have gone for.
Oh,
Looks like it's about $100 for the base compared to a Debo Samuel that sold for 76 yesterday in auction. So. Did I need to add
yeah,
that?
you accidentally shared mine. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right, so $76 for the Debo Samuel base rookie ticket auto closed an auction yesterday. The most recent Terry McLaurin one I can find is $100 that closed an auction on February 20th. But you can see
glass. Yeah.
here's a $95. There's a silver prism one. That's a good sold. And here's a PSA 9. So a PSA 9 for 102.50 should be very close to raw, but that's also optic. Optic contender is a better set most times than the base. So yeah. So okay. Well, I thought it was going to be the other way around because I was going to ask you for the same price, which one would you rather own, Debo or Terry McLaurin? Because I know my answer, but I wanted to get your answer.
Terry. Yeah.
Terry, yes.
Terry's just that guy, man.
He's that guy.
I just think Debo's a little thick now. Terry's a little bit more hardcore.
So good.
Like Terry was so damn if there was any criticism of Jayden last year, it would be like he missed Terry a lot.
Terry could have been. Terry might have outperformed Jamar Chase. Might.
No, he wouldn't have done
if
that.
he didn't miss if they didn't. There were yeah, maybe not Jamar, but he would have been.
It would have been
top
I'm
two.
with you. Yeah, I'm with you. But yeah, and you would like to think that connection is going to be even better. And look, my number one stack in fantasy was Jayden and Terry. So if they would have hit, well, I mean, I made money off of them anyway, but if they would have hit on a few of them, I would have absolutely murdered. And DK Metcalf, this is interesting.
Yeah, his rookie ticket of all autos have always been 100 plus.
Yeah,
I think there's a situation. The reason why I said he was generational earlier, his physicality, his physical presence on the field, and the covers that they've done on him in Sports Illustrated and this and that. He's more of a physical specimen than in any of the other wide receivers we just talked about, Debo, Terry McLaurin. And I think that's why people have been investing in DK Metcalf going back to 2020, right? So his rookie ticket auto still trading at 100. I think there's a chance he could get outplayed by George Pickens this year. And I think there's a chance that DK Metcalf's values could go down on the Steelers. Yeah. And I think you should sell DK Metcalf now on this news. Because look at this. I mean, he's trading for the same as Terry freaking McLaurin.
Please, Aaron, I'm praying for one of two things. I want a chaos quarterback with the Steelers.
They're going to re-sign Russell Wilson, you know it.
Okay, but there's two chaos quarterbacks: Aaron Rodgers,
yeah,
or Shador.
Yeah, that's true. They could draft.
I love Shador in the Pittsburgh market. You're talking about the second biggest brand in the NFL. And like the biggest star at the quarterback position going into next year, with Shador. So it's going to be interesting. Gordon, thanks for the love. You guys are awesome. I listen to you two religiously on Apple iTunes, but this is the first time you've been able to watch us live. Keep kicking booty.
Hey, appreciate that, Gordon.
Oh, look, his avatar, is that the Las Vegas Sphere? That's a Las Vegas Sphere.
Your eyesight as must have improved.
They're going to have Geno Smith's face, and Brock Bowers' receding hairline on that thing. Man, I've got to go check this Sphere out. One of my favorite artists is being rumored to perform there, Mr. Harry Styles.
Oh, wow.
Rumors of him doing a residency there.
Wow.
But
I will not
they,
be attending that.
dude, they did like Grateful Dead shows there. Could you imagine? Like, go look at some of the imagery of from that show. I couldn't imagine like doing some Grateful Dead type of activities and then actually going to see the Grateful Dead with all the freaking HD stuff floating around you. You'd be floating.
Your mind would be blown. Yeah, you'd be.
There you go. And Gordon's in Hawaii. Okay, so I was right. There's a Vegas sphere.
I'd
All right.
rather go to Hawaii. I'd rather go to Hawaii. Visit, the same price between Vegas and Hawaii. Give me Hawaii.
I think Hawaii's a little overrated, Gordon. I'm sorry. Because a flight to Hawaii is what? I've never been. So maybe I shouldn't be saying it's overrated. But a flight to Hawaii is what, 12 hours? It's like 12 hours.
Yeah, and it could be expensive, but if you stay like in the less popular places, I've watched some YouTubers do some trips over there, and you can stay places on the Big Island for like decent price. You just have to get outside of the city and get outside of the like mainstream places.
Ooh. And then Jonathan lives in London. You can make the same flight to London, basically.
London's cool.
Okay, so Gordon corrects me. It's only 6. Well, it depends on where you are. I'm sure. So that's the thing, Gordon. We're gonna come see you. Me and Andy. We're gonna come see you. We'll do our show from Gordon. We'll do it live on a surfboard. Let's do it. But now it is time for play of the week. Okay, Andy. I don't get Carson Beck's prices being this low. Okay. Carson Beck, Georgia quarterback, who many thought would be the number 1 quarterback going into this draft. All right. So, Carson Beck autos. I couldn't believe this when I saw it. Now, there's a lot of his product that's out there right now. Okay. But I'm going to share my screen here. Carson Beck autos, $1,350 for a sealed auto. Okay. Now, this is second year Bowman Chrome, $35, $90 for a gold refractor. And once again, this is a lot of year 2s, but $60, that's a year 1 Bowman first, $30 right here. Andy, this is what like Jackson Dart was basically going for. And then I'm getting some Bowmans here for $14, $20. Once again, he's got a lot of autos out there, a lot. And his end of season at Georgia was brutal. All right. But hear me out. Georgia's offensive line wasn't as good as the year's previous offensive line. But more importantly, Andy, Georgia's receivers fell off a cliff. So he didn't have Brock Bowers. He didn't have Ladd McConkey last year. And Mike Bobo is a very much maligned offensive coordinator. All right. So they have protection issues. Georgia's receiver room was full of a bunch of head cases, and they dropped a lot of passes. Okay. That was a very hostile situation. Whereas before, you had Todd Monken there, all right, who has been phenomenal with the Ravens. So now he goes to a weaker conference in Miami, who just had this huge year with Cam Ward. And you're telling me that I can get Carson Beck autos for cheaper than what Jackson Dart's autos were going for last year? And many thought there was a chance that Carson Beck would be the first overall pick selected in this NFL draft. We also don't know how Carson Beck would have tested, because I wouldn't have gone to the NFL either if they were offering me a $4 million NIL package to go to Miami, right, where his Instagram model girlfriend lives, and they gave him Lamborghinis, which got robbed. So I understand there's like some off-field concerns with Carson Beck and the player lifestyle, if you will, but that's cheap for where his autos used to be. They used to be $50 cards. So I'm not in love with it. It is a somewhat loaded quarterback draft class, but if I can get his autos for $15, $20 out the door, I don't mind spending a hundo on getting a few of those autos in what should be a good environment for him to succeed next year.
Interesting. Great play of the week, Carter.
Carson Beck. Let's go.
Yeah, we've given out a couple, but I'm gonna give out another one. It's another free agency move here, and it's Javonte Williams. He goes to the Dallas Cowboys, man. I know the Dallas Cowboy franchise is, it's taking a hit, man. It's taking a hit. Jerry Jones really, I think, needs to take a step back, but I digress. Javonte Williams, who did face some significant competition last year in Denver from Jaleel McLaughlin and whoever else they had, Samaje P. Ryan and stuff. But I think you get now Javonte Williams, now a second year. I guess he's going into his third year removed from his ACL injury. And there is a chance that, Javonte Williams on the Cowboys could produce a significant production on one of the largest market franchises in the NFL. And the thing I like about it is he's such a sleeper. The cards are so cheap. Like I'm looking at Javonte Williams pink prism auto rookie for $12.99. Like there's just like no downside to throwing a couple flyers on Javonte Williams right now with his cards being this cheap. I mean, it's insanely dirt cheap. So he's like a sleeper play, very low risk. I think it makes sense to get a little exposure to him to have that for the Dallas Cowboys in 2025.
All right. So this isn't from like an actual NFL insider, but have you ever heard of Slick Rick Scoops?
Slick Rick's no.
Okay. He's actually gotten a lot of stuff right. All right. So take this information for what it's worth.
Okay.
Joey Bosa joining Nick Bosa on the 49ers. Potentially. Okay. This isn't from Rap Sheet or someone like that. But that's fascinating. The 49ers. I'd want to go sack Sam Darnold behind that offensive line as well. Let's see. Andy, where's Cooper Kupp going? You tell me.
That's a great question. I mean, the Rams, we didn't talk about that, but the Rams bring in Devontae Adams, add a weapon for Stafford. Stafford's prices have gone up, and Stafford's got a really interesting market from 2009, and they're expected to release Cooper Kupp. So, yeah, I'm really interested in this Rams situation. Like, how much is that going to eat into Puka Nacua? Also, where is Cooper Kupp going to go? I don't know. I really don't. I have not thought about it enough, but I think Cooper Kupp, he's going to land on his feet somewhere. He's going to be a good veteran presence, but he's not like got the same health as a Mike Evans or a Devontae Adams at this point in his career. I think Cooper Kupp has suffered a significant amount of lower body injuries. Yeah. That he's going to be more of like a veteran mentor, Adam Thielen type presence, maybe where he gets some volume here and there. He has some good games, but ultimately it's like to coach up the younger guys on the team and maybe be a safety or security blanket for a young quarterback. Maybe he goes to the Carolina Panthers. Maybe I just solved it. Cooper Kupp to the Panthers.
Wait, did that happen?
No, that just came to my head as I'm talking about this.
Yeah, so 49ers make a lot of sense, as Illinois points out. You know who else makes a lot of sense? Well, first off, I would be very concerned for Cooper Kupp if you are a Cooper Kupp collector. Some of my biggest flips have been Cooper Kupp. All right. RIP slap. What was it? Star Stock. I remember calling you. I was like, dude, Cooper Kupp PSA 10s are like $20 on here, and I sold them all for like $200. RIP slap, whatever. Star Stock. One good fit for him would be the Cowboys. That would make a lot of sense. With you got CeeDee Lamb on the outside, indoor environment. Him and Dak, I think Dak and Stafford play similar. So I would love to see him go to Dallas, but nothing good ever comes to Dallas. So there you go.
That would be an instant sell now for me. If I was a Cooper Kupp holder and he goes to Dallas, trying to liquidate.
Right. I am very interested where he's going to go. Andy, any final thoughts? Any other comments other than we're either going to England or Hawaii next year?
Yeah, whether going to England or Hawaii. Carter's also coming to Tampa for the next time I set up as a dealer. That'll be fun. We'll make sure to get it all on video and bring you guys along with us. We appreciate everybody tuning in today. Yeah, I will make sure I get this up on iTunes and Spotify as well. And I appreciate you guys. Good show.
Who's going? Let me ask you this: who's going to be the Browns starting quarterback next year?
I think they're drafting a quarterback, and it's going to be a rookie. So I don't know who they pick here, but they're going to draft. I think they're going to draft a quarterback, and yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I don't know, man. Where are they picking at? They're picking at number 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Why? I can't believe I'm about to say this, but in some ways, like Travis Hunter is like kind of underrated. Like he's still going to go like top 5. I'm not saying he's underrated in that instance, but the QB discourse is kind of overshadowed like a freak. I mean, Andy, what if here's the thing about Travis Hunter. What if he is like Ohtani? Like where in the NFL, he can legitimately play 100 snaps a game and play both ways. What if he is Ohtani? All right. If that is the case, which I don't think is plausible, but some guys are just built different. And Travis Hunter is one of the best football players I have ever watched, period. End of story. I would take him number 1 overall. If anything, he's going to sell tickets, and I know for sure he's going to be elite at one thing. All right. What if he's good at both sides? I mean,
revolutionary.
Yeah,
Man.
I mean, it would be something we have never seen before. Now, I don't think he's going to be as dominant as Ohtani. What Ohtani does is still like just stupid. Like there shouldn't be a baseball player. There might not ever be a baseball player as good as him. But it's not as exhausting, if you will, as playing a full football game, 90 snaps a game. But what if he is able to do it? It's just, like, what if he is able to pull that off? Well, he's winning at least one MVP.
Yeah.
What do you think of Travis Hunter? I mean, do you think he's as good as I think he is?
He's insane. I mean, I think he's the guy that could justify not participating in the combine. You know, I think Shedeur should have probably participated.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Peace.
All right, peace.